Hello everyone and welcome back, Dome here, and in this video we're going to talk about maybe one of the best analyzer plugins that's out there, and this is included in Cubase. It's called Supervision, and if you haven't checked it out, you should. Let's see how it works right after this. So I'll be honest, when Supervision was released, I was over the moon. It's one of those things that I've spent so much money on third-party plugins to get just a fraction of the functionality that we can find in Supervision. So what is Supervision? It was introduced in Cubase 11 and it's a supercharged analyzer plugin. It has pretty much everything. You'll be very hard-pressed to find something that doesn't exist in Supervision, and it's one of those things that I find it's really, really important, whether you're producing, whether you're mixing, you're mastering, or when you're doing sound design. It's extremely important that you have high-quality metering, and high-quality metering is very expensive. Most of the really top-end analyzer plugins cost a lot of money. Sometimes these plugins cost like twice the price of Cubase. But Supervision is now included in Cubase Pro, and it's packed with features. It's packed with meters. So I'm going to show you a little bit of how you can use this plugin to your advantage. So I have this plugin right here, as you can see, and this is a resizable plugin. So you can say, okay, I want to make this really big. Needless to say, it's permanently glued on my second monitor that you can't see right now, but it's there and it's always there. It never leaves my second monitor. My second monitor is my Supervision monitor, okay? But I'm going to use this here in this case so that you can see what I'm doing. So the first thing that we have is a level meter, and everything is completely customizable. So for example, if I want to change any of the settings here, I can say I can change the scale, I can have digital scale, I can have the British scale, I can have the Bobcat scale, so K20, K14, K12, and you can of course change the color if you want. You can have it on your track color, or you can have it follow the color of the scale. So these are all very cool. I mean, this is something that you find very, very similarly in the control room section. I hope you're using control room. If you don't, check out my video on why you should use control room 100% of the times. Okay, now let's check out what else we can do. First of all, let's check out some more of the modules, and then I'm going to show you some more stuff. Then we have the loudness meter. Now this can show you all the things that are very relevant these days, especially when you're planning to upload your music on Spotify, on Apple Music, on YouTube, and so on and so forth. This will give you all the LUFS values. You can see the true peak, you can see the integrated LUFS values, the short term. So let's play some audio through it. And we can change the integrated reference. So maybe I want to go up to, I don't know, 14. Okay, I mean, these things change all the time, so it's a good idea to keep an eye on what's going on. And, you know, just check your track when you're mixing and mastering, see what kind of levels you're at. Now, this is extremely important when you produce music for film, for ads, for TV, because things are very strict there. It's not like Spotify and Apple Music. There are many opinions out there. I'm not gonna go into that in this video, but you know, especially when you're working with film and TV, rules are very, very strict. Netflix, all these things. So this gives you all the things that you need when you want to customize these meters. Now, let's go to another meter. I'm going to show you as many as possible. I'm not sure if I'm going to go through all of them, but then we have the spectral domain. Now, these meters give you a very good idea of what's going on within your spectrum, okay? So if I go to spectrum curve, now this is on my master bus, so you will see. Okay, now this is a spectrum curve, very self-explanatory. This is also something that you find in mastering applications like Wavelab. And you have, again, many different options here. So you can change the time smoothing. So you can make it very, very slow, especially when you're mastering. This is really useful. Or very snappy when you're mixing or when you're producing, if you want to really see what's going on with that kick drum and so on and so forth. Again, you can change the FFT window from multi. You can make it a little bit more coarse. And of course, this will consume less CPU. So this is the spectrum curve. Let's move on to the next one. This is the spectrum bar. Very similar, but in this case we have bars. I think you probably know what this thing shows, so I'm going to move on to the next one. This is a spectrum intensity. This is very interesting. Check it out. I mean, this can show you how intense, how loud is each frequency, okay? So we can, again, change this. We can make it smooth. We can change the FFT window so we can make it more coarse if we want to. And we can change the minimum and maximum values. So let's change these parameters. And I'm gonna change the color of my master so that we have some different colors as well. And see, this is a little bit more coarse now. This is very, very useful because it's very visual and you can see what's going on with your music. You can see these transients coming. Very, very cool. Now, the next one is the Spectrogram. And this I use all the time when I'm doing sound design because it's so detailed. Let me show you. So you can see the energy that you have here, you can see what's going on, you can see any noises, any clicks and pops, where they reside, where they are in the frequency spectrum. And because you can actually go here and make this very detailed again, or very coarse, it's very, very easy to identify these things. We can also change the duration. And we can change the colors as well. And you can see all these arpeggiators, the hi-hats, the snares. It's very easy to have a very nice visual idea, and you know, the tails, beautiful. And this is all in real time. This is really, really fantastic. Now let's move on to the next one, and this is the Chromogram. Again, this is a little bit more musical. You can see the different pitches here, and you can see how much energy is there in each pitch. Okay, so if I go here and go to my settings again, let's go to Inferno. I can see what pitches have lots of energy. So this E is very, very prominent. Sometimes you might want to find like a resonant frequency or some notes in a bass line that always are louder than the others. This actually gives you a very, very good idea of what's going on with your note content. For example, if I go to my bass here, you know what? Let's go and add it to this bass. See that? So I know this is a C, you know, very, very easily I can identify any offending notes that might stick out. This is great for vocals, really, really powerful. I mean, don't underestimate meters, because meters can really give you a very good idea of what's going on with your material. And of course, ears and listening is always number one, but sometimes it might be a useful thing to check at a meter, a specialized meter like this, in order to figure out what's going on very, very quickly. Okay, let's move on to some more stuff. Now, this is the phase scope, and again, this is a good indication so that you can figure out what's going on with your panorama. And sometimes I find it very useful when I want a sound to be completely mono. I just slap a phase scope on it and just double check. Is it mono, or do we have any stereo information there? For example, this bass, If I needed this to be mono, this would give me a very, very clear indication that it's stereo. I mean, you can hear that it's stereo, but sometimes it's not very obvious if there's a little bit of stereo information in a sound. And this is quite standard, but now it's included. You don't have to use a separate plugin to have this in Cubase. Now, this is the panorama meter. Again, a different version depending on what you like most. I also have the TC Electronic Clarity M for this, and I used to use that in order to see that I always had it on. But now it's in Cubase, it's in my second monitor. Then there's this amazing meter called the Multi-panorama. Now this is really special because what it shows you is it shows you how much stereo information exists throughout your frequency range. Let's play some music through it and you'll see what I'm talking about. So basically I can see how much stereo information I have throughout all my frequencies. So if I see that there's a lot of stereo information in the low end, maybe I can go and check it out and double check if everything is right and if I need to tweak things. For example, this is my Apollo sub bass. And you can see it's pretty mono right here, okay? So we're good. Now let's move on to the next meter, and this is the correlation. So this means that everything is good, okay? This is the correlation meter. This basically shows you if there are any phase problems with your material. Let me go to my master bus and let's check it out there. Correlation. As a rule of thumb, if you're in the +1 area, you're good. If you go ever so slightly below 0, still okay. If you're stuck in -1, there's a problem. Maybe you want to check it because mono compatibility will suffer if this shows you -1, okay? So and I want to show you something else now. This is the second really amazing tool. This is the multi-correlation. This I use all the time when I do sound design, when I want to make sure that everything is tight, my low end is concrete and there are no phase problems. I cannot live without this meter, I'm telling you. Now, what this shows you is if there are any phase problems depending on the frequency. So if I play this, so we have all the frequencies here. And again, if I go below 0, see, this is the 0 axis. If I go below 0, if I go below this bar, that means that there are some phase issues in that specific area. Now, if you're on the top end and the mid-range, you might get away with this. This is okay, but if it's in the low end, you might need to take care of this. Maybe you need to make your bass and your low end mono, okay? But this is something that you can't really tell just by listening, you know? This is very important. This is something that you can only see with these meters unless you have a amazingly treated room, you have the best monitoring equipment in the world, you know, the best monitors. This meter will tell you things that nothing else can, and it will identify problems that you might be scratching your head going like, why does my mix sound so hollow? Why does it sound so weird? I can't really explain it. Everything is right, but something sounds weird and hollow. Well, this will tell you if there's something wrong there. Not only will tell you, but it will also show you what frequency has the problem. And I can't stress it enough, these are tools that we have in Cubase that, again, I can't believe that we have them as a built-in plugin inside Cubase. I really think this is such a privilege because there are other DAWs that don't even have like proper metering, right? Let's move on to the next one. Next, we have some more meters for surround and ambisonics. I'm not going to touch too much into these because maybe I'm going to show them on a different video. But then we have the oscilloscope oscilloscope. Again, that was something that used to be only in Wavelab. I tend to use this more when I do sound design or when I'm, playing with synths, because basically what you can do is, for example, if I have this bass here, I can see the waveform pretty much. So this is a very neat metering tool. I like that. Again, I use it more for sound design rather than mixing and mastering. Next we have the Wavescope, and oh my, this was again the reason why I was going back to Wavelab over and over again. This shows you the waveform in real time, which means that if you add a plugin, if you add like a limiter, you will be able to see visually what's going on with your waveform. As a matter of fact, let's add a limiter and let's do something drastic so we can see how the waveform looks like. See, I can see what's going on with my waveform in real time. Any processing you use, analog gear, plugins, it's gonna show. And this is amazing. Actually, I love doing this when I'm using analog gear. I see what's going on with my waveform, see the transients, see how the audio reacts visually as well, apart from, what I hear on my monitors. And let's go for the last one. This is the wave circle. And this is a fun one. It's very good. It shows you the waveform in a circular kind of fashion. I like that. And the final thing is, of course, time. Some people really like to have this in a big display, especially film composers. Now, time can be, of course, time. It can be samples, it can be beats, and it can also be time codes. So all my film composer friends, this is really, really good. And the beauty of Supervision is you can actually create your own presets. So for example, I have created some presets for Supervision. And for example, I have my mastering preset here. And as you can see, this has all the tools that I need for mastering. So the spectrum bar, the multi-panorama, the loudness meter, the Wavescope, and my levels here. But sometimes when I do sound design, I have a completely different set of meters. So if I go DOM sound design, you will see that I have these meters here instead, which is a little bit more sound design oriented. I have the frequencies, I have the spectrum bar here, but I also have the multi-correlation, like I said before. I have the phase scope, and I also have the oscilloscope. And of course, if you want, you can keep adding modules. It's very easy to do. You just go here and you can say, I want to add a module, let's say at the bottom, or maybe on the right, and so on and so forth. You can customize this and make this completely your own. So there you go. This is the amazing Supervision, and this is how I use it. I tried to give you an overview, but in the comments down below, let me know how you use it and how do you use each meter. Is there anything that I've missed? Any special application that you use any meter for? Let us know in the comments down below. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you found it useful and if it helped you, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already and hit the like button. This really helps me a lot. Thank you so much, my friends. Have loads of fun, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.